It's time for another episode of Coffee with the County Local Voices, and today I am with a group of educators from Long Lake Conservation Center, our group of educators, Julia Kuhns, Katie Murphy, and Marla Richter. I got all those names correct, huh?
Hello.
I've been studying. Hello, all of you. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Very well.
Well, I thank you for coming in. I was able to have a tour and a visit of everything going on Long Lake. And there's such a huge benefit to the education piece of Long Lake, to our county, to children, to all of that. And we'll get into all of that. And I was so impressed that I kind of hijacked you to come in and talk about it a little bit. But I want to hear about you three first. And how'd you end up here in Aiken County? Have you always been here? Who wants to start?
I can start. All right. So Marla Richter, I actually purchased my grandparents' place 5 years ago. My grandma grew up on the property outside of Aiken. So I've been coming up to this area my whole life. So it is my happy place. It's where I've always come to get away and to de-stress.
Yeah, there you go.
I actually came to Long Lake as a fifth grader with my school. I went to school out in Delano, grew up out there before it was all bougie and fancy, when it was still dirt roads and farms. And I came for that 3-day, 2-night trip and had a blast, obviously. Through school, also came up for one of my college classes. I have that connection of being there a little bit.
It's amazing how that from fifth grade comes back and now you're at Long Lake.
It was supposed to happen, but I didn't want to go to a really large college coming from a smaller rural area. So I did my first 2 years of school up at Vermilion Community College in Ely, got my associates in biology, and then transferred down to the U of M St. Paul campus, College of Natural Resources, and finished my bachelor's in environmental education. A class that was curriculum writing was actually focused around one of the classes we currently do, one of our Ojibwe snow snakes class. And so we had to make our own snow snake. We had to write the class, and then we got to go up to Long Lake and experience it in the winter and then also play the game. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. And Katie?
Yeah, so Katie Murphy. I'm kind of similar to Marla, where my grandparents have been up in this area for 30 plus years, so I've been coming up here for quite a while. My background and jobs have had me kind of all over the Midwest. So I've been with the state of Minnesota, then I was down in Oklahoma for a while, in Kansas for a while, back up to Duluth, and then this position opened up, and I had driven past it a million times, like a lot of people, but never been in, and it was the right match. So I find myself here, close to my grandparents, in a lovely little community.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we're glad you're here, by the way. And Julia?
Yeah, Julia Kuhns, and I grew up in the suburbs, but also strangely had a connection to Palisades specifically. My parents had a cabin, a little hunting property right there down the road from Long Lake. Also had never been in Long Lake, but had driven past it. My education is with art education. Went to school in Wisconsin, had a lot of different experience with outdoor stuff, summer camp counselor type of background stuff. Did a year of the conservation course, so a lot of that like physical labor, outdoor work. And then worked on a farm in Michigan for several years before I came back to Minnesota and found this position as well.
It's good to have you here as well. I know that Dave has been in, and Dave McMillan, and he's talked about the history of Long Lake Conservation Center. What I am most interested in, I think the listeners will be most interested, is the outstanding education section of Long Lake and what it does for the children that come up. And I should mention first and foremost, there are trails and things out there that people can go see that aren't the education spot. And we'll get to that later on. But this is important. This is hugely important. The history of how long Long Lake has done this, and Dave's explained that. But tell us what that means that we have an education part of Long Lake. What does it do?
I would say it's been getting the kids outside off their electronics. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is so much of their lives are run by their phones, their tablets, and just by the nature of things, computers through school, that proving that there is learning and fun without those things outdoors.
Yeah.
One of our favorite things to do before they go on that last meal, before they get on the bus and leave, is to ask who had fun. I mean, every kid raises their hand. And then we tell them, hey, we have a secret for you. You guys had fun for 3 days without your electronics. And there are kids that literally sit there with their jaw dropped while they're trying to process that, wait a minute, I haven't had those things and I had a great time. So I think that's one of my favorite things, is just to see those responses and to see the kids getting to be kids again, playing outside while learning.
The world today needs more and more and more of that, right? We know it. Everybody says it, but actually doing it like you guys are, that's really cool.
Because we work with schools from all over the state, we get all different kinds of schools, you know, from the little Hill City group just up the road to the inner city schools to a Korean immersion school, you know, just like all types of students who get to come out and enjoy the beauty of this part of the state. Bouncing off of what Marla said, getting them to experience things that they can do when they go back home, but maybe they wouldn't have had the opportunity to try if their family doesn't get out and cross-country ski, you know.
Yeah.
We talk about how there's opportunities to continue to do these things back where they are.
My favorite part is we're not constrained by a classroom. So we get the kids outside. It is hands-on. We almost, sometimes I like to say we trick them into learning something, because whether we put it in the form of a game or hands-on exploration of all the critters that are found in the lake, stuff like that, they get hands-on and pick out those little things that touch them individually that they get to bring home and share with others.
There's conservation centers throughout the state. Are there like 5 different places that offer what you guys are doing at Long Lake? Your education department, right? Are you all naturalists? Is that the titles?
Term, official term is naturalist instructor, I believe.
Okay. So you're teaching about nature.
Yeah.
And
everything that goes in it. And it's naturally better in Aiken County.
Weird.
How much better could that have worked in there, you think? I thought it was incredible when I heard that you guys write the education. Your department, along with your supervisor or whatever we want to call Beth. What do we want to call Beth?
Yeah,
education coordinator. Yeah.
I love it. She'll appreciate that, because that was your opportunity to call her anything you wanted.
No.
You guys set the standard, the curriculum and that type of thing. How does that come about?
There was a core set of classes when we got there, but because Long Lake Conservation Center had been closed for almost 2 years, because of COVID, there wasn't anyone currently on staff that had been teaching. Beth had been a substitute and contract naturalist for quite a long time, so she knew of most of the classes. So we were lucky enough to have her go through a lot of those classes. But because the old staff structure was mostly interns or seasonal staff, it was very scripted. And that is
very scripted.
To the point where it said, like, get the kids to say that. You need to get the kids to do this. That is not environmental education. It is discovery and experience based. We went through and learned what we could from what we could find, which was also a challenge as far as pre-written curriculum. And we restructured it. We have an objective. We have some key words. We have a basic idea of how the class goes, but it could change slightly based on what the kids are interested in.
And the education standards.
Yep, we do follow the education standards, but we still have that flexibility to adapt as needed for different groups.
You make that education match up with Long Lake Conservation Center, right?
Yep.
That it's if you're not gonna train about anacondas because we don't have any of those here.
Correct.
We're Minnesota based.
Stuff.
Yep. Stuff that kids will get to see even when they leave here.
We did all get to pull in our own personal backgrounds. So with my background with art ed, I did help create or recreate some like nature art type of classes, pulling some different aspects of things in. And yeah, with different backgrounds, we've been able to like amplify the classes that are there and make them better.
Cool. And you mentioned that this part started right after COVID, right? The whole, you guys being full-time. Have you all been there since that? I didn't ask how long you had been.
We all started
here.
August 2nd of 2021.
Okay.
So we were lucky enough to get those permanent positions, which is actually quite unusual for the naturalist instructor positions to have permanent staffing.
Yeah.
And that's usually a managerial position. For a couple of us to have full-time permanent or part-time permanent positions is kind of a unicorn thing. And it's not lost on us how lucky we are to have that opportunity. And it builds a stronger program.
I believe that. And I think we're the lucky ones in Aiken County to have you three doing what you're doing for the kids. And how many, just off the top of your head, how many kids, how many people go through there on the education piece of all of that?
As far as school groups go,
yes.
It depends on the year, but it usually ranges between like 3,500 to 4,000 a year, depending on the school sizes, things like that.
That's an amazing amount. And you mentioned from all over the area, from all over the state, inner city, rural areas, people that are close, some people that are really far away. Is there anybody that comes from out of state or Canada?
One from Wisconsin.
There's a Wisconsin group.
Nice.
We have a online school that comes, and the kids haven't actually met each other in person, and they do that for the first time at Long Lake. We have high school groups. We have Itasca North incoming education department freshmen will come in to get to know each other before their semester starts. So the groups definitely range. Typically it's 5th and 6th graders. That's kind of our core that come for the 3-day, 2-night trip. Any group is welcome.
The little McGregor after school
Yep.
kids. They're fun.
Yeah.
They have fun, don't they?
Yeah.
But we have the flexibility of tailoring the programs to the group that's coming. So there is a Catholic school, for instance, that comes from the Grand Rapids area. And they usually come in the winter. They're actually now scheduling have scheduled and are planning a day trip because they wanted to explore the bog. The bog is different in the winter. It's not quite in its full glory. So we are tailoring a program, a day trip, around them coming down to explore the bog and plant life in a little bit nicer.
A little warmer. Thinking about that, summertime, wintertime, you would think that it's all spring. You get really, really busy and those schools, but this goes on year round, right? I mean, you get students in all year long, which was another thing that I was really impressed with. Why would a school want to come when it's 20 below zero? What do you got to do out there?
Lots of things.
We bundle them up. We go out snowshoeing, cross-country skiing. Some of them love it.
See.
Absolutely love coming out in the winter because it shows that as long as you are prepared and have the clothing, there's stuff to do all year round.
Still have them cook their wilderness meal. We have them dig a hole in the snow and build their bonfire and cook their hot dogs in the middle of the winter.
Tell me a little bit about the curriculum. What kind of things, like you just mentioned, they get to do their wilderness meal, they get to cook that themselves. What are some, if you took a 5th and 6th grade, because I know it probably varies a little bit depending on ages, but if you're taking a 5th and 6th grade class, what kind of things are they going to see in their 2-day stay out there?
Oh, well, my favorite class adventure, if you want to, that a lot of schools like to choose is lake bottom organisms. So we have Long Lake out there. We bring the students out and give them basically like kitchen strainers, and they get to scoop around in the muck. And then we have microscopes and big trays, and they dump out what they collect in the lake and identify the different little critters, bugs, mayflies, dragonflies, all that stuff that they find in there. And then we talk about how some of these different little critters require different types of water, different water quality parameters, and how the more critters you have, usually the better water quality there is there. And they get a kick out of it. They go, "What? We've been swimming in a lake and they've had this stuff living in there?" It's like, yep, you have.
But who wouldn't have fun trying to figure all that stuff out? Any other things come to mind that you...
I mean, we have classes, like we talked about, year-round. Some are more just activity-based, whether it's canoeing, archery, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, depending obviously on the weather. And then there's more ecology-based, whether we're talking about hibernate, migrate, tolerate, the canines of Minnesota, and going out on a wolf howl at night, or shelter building, which is actually one of my favorite classes. We talk a little bit about survival in the beginning, and the kids have to go out and build their own shelters that their team can fit in with logs and sticks and items found in the woods. Just to watch that free play and getting in there, digging in the leaf litter, finding the right things to put on their shelter, and then at the end making sure everyone fits and simulating that storm that's coming that they have to shelter themselves from. It's just a lot of fun, because you see the different talents and the different kind of minds at work that don't always shine in the 4 walls in a classroom at a desk.
Yeah.
The kids just get to be active, and then we wrap up the class and usually have a little bit of a talk about that. But I often tell them, this is how I spent my childhood. I left in the morning. I didn't come home till dinner.
Mm-hmm.
If I went home, I got chores. So we built shelters all summer long and slept in them. And some of those kids kind of look at you like, really? We can do that at home. There's a cool woods at home. Yes.
Yeah, you can
Go
do
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing, is when they start talking about wanting to do some of these things when they go back home.
I mean, I think a lot of our classes too focus on that kind of stuff, that things that they, again, can do at home, which is so important. It's not something that's so fancy or whatever, but it's getting them back to those basic things that they can do. I had a girl during shelters the other week come up to me when we were out there, and she goes, "Miss Julia, can I go see if there's mud in that swamp over there to use on her shelter?" I'm like, absolutely. And she comes back covered in mud and starts plastering it on the wall. It's something that stands out for Long Lake compared to some of the other centers is our bog. And it's hard to promote a bog, but even for people who live in Aiken County, when we're surrounded by bogs, to get kids to actually go out into the bog respectfully and like experience the bog hands-on and see how special that ecosystem is a really cool opportunity for the adults too. They're always like, I had no idea that a bog was like this, and I've never been, immersed in one. So
Yeah.
Most places require you to stay on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And we do the opposite. You connect better with the natural world when you immerse yourself in it. Having the kids squeeze the moss and make some choices. They choose their own adventure. We tell them if it's brown, you're going down. If it's green, you're clean. And there's always a few that have to test that theory. And why not?
What is one last question for you all? What is one thing that you want people that may not know what Long Lake Conservation Center education is all about? What's one thing that you want the listeners to know?
Well, I think one of the big ones is we're also an Aiken County park. And I think everybody forgets that we're out there. And so we've tried to do some things to be more visible. We are permanent residents as well as employees there. That's an important thing for people to know. Obviously, if there's a school on campus, we ask that the general public is not coming onto campus proper, but there's 700 acres there and some beautiful trails year round. The ski trails are groomed. You have to have the DNR pass for the outer trails. They're groomed with tracks in them. So a lot of people will come and enjoy skiing. You want to come and explore the bog on a Saturday afternoon? It's there. It's waiting for you. Come enjoy it.
Anything else from you guys?
We're permanent staff here. We love what we do, put a lot of effort into this to make it, the best it can be. We're proud of what we do.
And keep your eye out for events that we put on for the public if you're local, because we try to have different things where the local public can come out, and not just to explore the trails, although we want you to come do that too, but also to like different classes. There's the River and Lakes Fair. There's different things out at Long Lake if you want to come experience a little bit more of what we do.
Or community education classes. Julia's been working hard on trying to promote some more of those, and we'd love to see more people signing up for those and coming out, whether it's some of our fundraisers events, the fish fry, or we have the concert, the Nature Rocks concert this summer. We're just doing our best to make a difference, and that can only happen with community support. And whether that's enjoying the classes or hiking the trails or supporting us in any way people can, we appreciate it.
Come out to learn to cook over a campfire at the end of this summer through Community Ed. That'll be fun. We're going to do a campfire cooking class for any age.
That does sound fun. You guys all know how to do that. The rest of us should know how to do it.
It's teaching the kids the patience of cooking over a fire. That's the hard part.
Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate that. It doesn't get said enough, the great hidden gem that's out there at Long Lake. And that's a word that we use when we're trying to attract for tourism and visitors, the hidden gems. But we truly have some in Aiken County, and I think from what I've seen and what I've been hearing and what I've been researching, our education of the children at Long Lake and that program is at the top of the heap. You're first out of 5 in what I'm researching.
Yep.
And
the
because
original.
I'm a little biased, in Aiken County, you're always at the top. But I want to make sure that on behalf of the listeners, on behalf of the people that work here at Aiken County, we do appreciate everything that you're doing out there. It doesn't get said enough all the great work that are being done by employees of Aiken County. And thank you all for that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And come back anytime you want to talk about stuff. We have Julia Kuhns, Katie Murphy, and Marla Richter here from Long Lake Conservation Center. And thank you all for coming in again. And you're listening to Coffee with the County.